Let's test some stuff out real quick. Let's see. Let's test some stuff out real quick. All right. Welcome. I appreciate you joining us, whoever you are. If you don't want to reveal your name, that's fine. But I appreciate you joining for this webinar here. Give me just a second. Can you see what is on the screen? The PowerPoint presentation. Go ahead and type in there if you can see it, please. Okay, perfect. Great. Okay, so this is a webinar that'll teach you how you can make between $1,000 and $10,000 a month in the DNA testing business. My name is Royal. I'm the founder of Paternity University. And this webinar, it won't take too long, but it is a pretty good amount of information. So follow me here. You can ask questions. Feel free to type in the chat. If you're on YouTube, feel free to type into the live chat as well. Okay. All right. I can hear you. Well, I can't hear you. You can type in here. I'll be able to turn on the voice chat in a second after I get done with the actual presentation. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So who am I? My name is Royal. I'm the co-owner of Assurance DNA, a nationwide paternity testing service currently based in El Paso, Texas. Okay. I'm also the founder of Paternity University. That's my wife. She helps me out in the business. She is great. Okay. So why do you want to get in this business? First off, how did you hear about this business? How did you hear about this webinar? And why do you want to get into this business? You can feel free to type in that Q&A box there the answers to these questions if you want. And then what would you want to do with an extra $1,000 to $10,000 a month? I'd love to hear what you do. Feel free to chat. A little bit of background on me. I got into this business. My mother has owned a paternity testing business for the past 20 or so years. I kind of witnessed her build her own business from the ground up. And after trying to get into, make real estate investments, and it wasn't really working out for me, I decided I was going to start my own paternity testing business. I helped her out for a few years. And I said, it doesn't seem to be that difficult. I'm going to go ahead and start my own. And that's what I did. I started my own in December 2020. And it's been on ever since. It's been great. What do I do with that extra $1,000 to $10,000 a month? Well, honestly, I reinvested pretty much into my business. I reinvest into ads. I reinvest into the business to continue to build it. That's what I do. But what I do may be different for what you want to do. That's completely fine. So you can answer in the chat if you feel free what you would like to do. Okay. So why the paternity testing business? Why the paternity testing business? Paternity tests are always needed. They'll never, ever, ever go away. And it'll only increase as the population grows. The demand is there. People need them. It's not hard to stand out from the competition. That's essentially being emotionally intelligent, being able to listen to the people, being responsive, being able to communicate. It's not hard to stand out from the competition if you can do that. it's scalable. You can grow it. You can expand to further locations. You can advertise in other locations. You can outsource stuff, so it's scalable. You can make between $200 to $1,800 per test as well, in revenue. And I go into exactly how much you can charge with that as well. So you say you found me on Twitter. Father found out his father wasn't his birth dad, and I had questions, and I saw your page on Twitter, literally, and now I'm here. I'm here for residual income, and I want to help other families find answers as well. Great, good to hear. Okay, you can run your business from anywhere. You don't have to be in the same city that you run your business. I mean, you can be on vacation and run it. If you have your processes set up, you can do it. Like I say before, I went on a honeymoon with my wife last year, and I was able to, granted, I'm on a honeymoon, so I wasn't always answering calls, but the calls that did come in of the people that wanted tests, I was able to answer and still coordinate paternity testing back then. Now I have a virtual assistant, so I wouldn't even get any of those calls. She would handle everything. She'd handle all the sales, and I can enjoy my vacation. So you can do that, and only, I was able to do that, less than 9 months later. Okay, so what is DNA paternity testing? So most people hear DNA testing, they think 23andMe, they think Ancestry, genetic history stuff. DNA paternity is a little bit different. DNA paternity is testing the biological relationship between an alleged father and a child. Okay, so that's what DNA paternity is. So when I say DNA testing, that's what I mean, not finding out your history and all that stuff. Okay, how you doing, Julius? Welcome. There are other ways to determine a DNA relationship. It doesn't have to just be the father. It can be the grandparent, you can do siblingship test. You can do avuncular, meaning aunt or the uncle. There are ways to do it if the alleged father is not available or is deceased or doesn't want to test. Okay. 1 in 3 men who get a paternity test are not the father. 1 in 3 men who get a paternity test are not the father. That's according to an article on DNA Diagnostics website from 2006. All right. In my experience, it's about 1 in 4. In my experience in operating my business, men who get a paternity test are not the father. So it's a need for it. It's a need for it. And I'm going to get into why pretty much next. All right. So why do people need paternity test? Okay, why do they get them? Why do they ask? Why do they call? Well, they want peace of mind. First off, sometimes they just want to know. They don't want to go to court with the results. They don't want to do any legal things. They just want to know. They've had these questions, these concerns. They just want to know. All right. Then you have the legal reasons. All right. A chain of custody test. That's filling out the legal paperwork to make it court admissible. All right. For things like child custody, child support, immigration, inheritance, Social Security benefits, etc. Those are the 2 reasons why that people get them. And you can charge differently for each reason. For a peace of mind test, you charge less. For a legal test, you charge more. All right. What is the difference between a DNA agency owner and a collector? So what is a DNA agency owner? Who is that? What does that mean? So a DNA agency owner is somebody like me. All right. I am partnered with a couple of laboratories, and I basically resell their services. The laboratories, they're kind of in one place. They don't have the ability, they don't have employees in every single city in the entire country in the world to do DNA tests. They can't do that. So they have kind of people that they encourage to partner with that set up their own DNA testing agencies. Like, you're a middleman between the client and the lab. And basically, they send you the kits, they send you everything you need, and you build your own business, and you do the DNA testing, and you send the samples to the lab to process. The lab charges you to process the fees, and that's it. There's no multi-level marketing stuff. There's no pyramid scheme stuff. None of that. It's just you build your own business. You do your own thing. However well you do, however much you do is up to you. And the lab just charges you a fee whenever you ship the samples in. Okay. A DNA collector is somebody who only collects DNA samples. Okay, so they are, they partner with the laboratory, but they only want to get called on. They're just on call. Okay, so if I am in El Paso, but I have a client in Dallas, I will contact a collector and say, hey, can you swab this person's samples for me? Can you collect these DNA samples? I'll pay you whatever your fee is, if it's $50 per person or $50 per test or whatever. And they collect for me, because I'm not going to drive 9 hours to Dallas, Texas to do a DNA test. I'm going to contact somebody who already knows how to do it, who already has DNA kits on hand that I don't have to mail out to them. And I will do that. That's it. That's the difference between an agency owner and collector. An agency owner builds their own business. They build everything. They advertise. They're more proactive. A collector is more so reactive. They're waiting for calls to come in. That's the difference. Okay. Anybody got any questions so far? Feel free to ask in the Q&A if you have any questions so far. I appreciate it. Okay. So what do you need to start your own DNA agency or business? What do you need? Okay. Essentially, you need to incorporate your business. You need to pick a name. You need to, get your EIN, your employer identification number from the IRS. Set up your business bank account. I'll go into the next slide. Have your Google My Business set up, your website. Your Google Ads, all that. That's what you need to start. Literally, the bare bones things that you need is at least your business incorporation, so your LLC or your S corp, your C corp, however you want to do that, and at least your domain name for your website to start. All right, that's less than $500 to start. And then the additional things such as getting your website, maybe setting up a phone line account or something like that, that's going to be a little bit extra money. You said, can I go back to the agency owner? Is that what you're asking, Julius? Do you want me to go back and explain that a little bit more? I can if you need me to. So yeah, an agency owner is somebody like me. Okay, so you're owning a DNA paternity testing service. You own the whole service. All right. You reach out to start off. You're going to reach out to a laboratory. Okay, that does the DNA testing. That laboratory is in Ohio or Pennsylvania or whatever. Okay, they actually test the samples. So if you want to start your own business in Indianapolis, you're going to reach out to that lab and say, hey, I see that you guys have a program where you allow people to basically resell your services, your test. But, you're not going to come out to Indianapolis to do this. You're not going to open up an area in Indianapolis. And so you set up your own. Yes, an agency owner can collect as well. Yes, because I've done that before. I have another DNA agency has contacted me to collect on their behalf. So yes, a DNA agency owner can also collect, but a collector cannot do the same things as a DNA agency owner, simply because a collector kind of waits for a call to come in. You see what I'm saying? They're more waiting. Would we need to be under you first? Nope. Do your own thing. I'm teaching you how to fish. I don't have anybody under me. I operate this business with my wife, and that's it. So is there anybody I know of? Yep, my mom. My mom operates in that area, in the Atlanta area. But she don't want nobody under her. Like I'm more so teaching you how to fish. Saying you can build your own thing, how you see fit. Because you don't have to stick just to the Atlanta area. You can also expand further out. Yes, you can operate in 50 states. So no, it doesn't really matter where you're located. Your demographic is going to be a little bit different where you located at. Like I started very first started in Maryland, actually, in Columbia, Maryland. That's where I very first started. Like I'm in the military, so I was moving all over the place. All right. So I very first started. And the demographic is a little bit different than the demographic in El Paso. Go figure. You know what I'm saying? It is a different demographic. Can you operate in the 50 states? Yeah. If you can advertise in all 50 states and all cities, absolutely. And the course teaches you how to outsource your test so that you can operate as far out as you need to be to do these tests. Okay. You're in Columbia? Yeah, there's a lab out there in Columbia as well that does prenatal testing. You get the course and you know exactly what lab that is. All right. So yeah, I was in Fort Meade. That's exactly where I was at. That's where I started at, Fort Meade, Maryland. All right. South of Atlanta and Willing to Grow. Yeah, Florida has a lot of paternity testing services, but Florida also has a lot of people. So yeah, you can, as long as you are able to advertise and get in front of those people and answer the phone, you should be good to go. All right. So yeah. Okay. I'm glad I was able to answer y'all's questions here. Feel free to keep typing. All right. Did that answer your question, Julius, about the DNA collector and the agency owner and the difference, and can an agency owner be a collector? Did that answer your question? I want to make sure it did. Okay, good. Okay, great. Okay, so give me just a second. Okay, so to start, you need to pick a name. Pick a name. Like I said, don't get stuck on picking a name. Don't spend 8 months picking a name. Pick a name. Like I said, what has worked for me, I own Assurance DNA. That's my legal business name. But on Google, it's City plus Paternity Testing Services. That makes it easy for people to find you. All right. So no, you don't have to hire a brand person to pick a name for you. People pick Assurance DNA, Nationwide DNA Testing, Peace of Mind DNA Services. One of my students in New Orleans, he chose Big Easy DNA. That's a great name, actually. That's good branding. Garden City DNA Testing Services, like something just easily Googleable. Okay, as you can see those names right there. All right, incorporate your business. All right, however you see fit. LLC, C Corp, S Corp. You go on the state secretary website, find that information. I am not an attorney. I am not a tax person, so don't ask me how. You would have to figure that out on your own. And if you need to know how, read up on it on your own or consult an attorney for that one. Okay. All right. Get your EIN. That is your business's social security number, essentially. Get that for free from irs.gov. Do not pay anybody to give you an EIN. You can get an EIN on irs.gov for free. And I think one of you said you already have an LLC already. I believe. Who said that? So yeah. Okay, I'm more interested in this. Yeah, you already have your stuff, so you don't have to create a new. If you don't want to, you don't have to create a new one. It's your choice. It's up to you. All right, set up your business bank. So that's your entity forming, your business bank account, all that. That's your entity formation, so that you can be a separate entity. You don't want to use personal bank accounts for business stuff. That's a no-go. All right. How difficult is to play with the middle? No, it's not hard. I do it. I'm full-time military and I do it. I'm the middleman. Can you use your previous EIN for this business? I would maybe ask a professional that one. I would maybe ask a professional for that one. I don't know if I really see a problem with that. I have different EINs for each of my business entities because I want to keep certain business entities completely separate. That's me. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to kind of have everything in one, that's on you. Maybe check with a professional for that one. All right. Julius, to answer your question, how difficult is it to play the middleman? It's not incredibly difficult because most of your clients are not going to know what the labs are, like who to read. They don't know. They just Google and whatever they see pop up, they call. So they're not going to say, I know what this lab is. I know where that is. So I'm going to contact them directly, to do this, because ultimately the labs, they can't, if the client is in Dallas, but the lab is in Ohio, the lab is not going to send somebody to Dallas to do a DNA. They're actually going to call you. Hey, can you collect for us? And they'll pay you like a little $100 or something like that, as opposed to you being the middleman and charging your own fee. And you still, you keep the profit and all that stuff. And the lab charges you the testing fee. You know what I mean? And you're on your own. See what I'm saying? So it is what it is. They don't know who the labs are. They have no idea. They don't know. Some of them are very savvy and they'll contact the labs themselves, but they just don't know. It's fine. As long as you present that good face, you're good to go. Okay. Yeah, get your domain name, set up your professional email, don't use, jimbobrown915@gmail.com or at yahoo.com as your business email. Like, get something professional, you know what I'm saying, through G Suite. Okay. Set up your open phone or Google Voice or Grasshopper or a separate business phone line. I have two phones. You know, I have a business phone and my regular phone. That's what I did. I started off with a flip phone. That's me. Okay. Start off. You just start. But now there's apps that you can have even on your main phone. Like Open Phone is great. I use them with my virtual assistant. And it is a separate app that'll give you a separate phone number. And you can put that on your website and on your Google My Business page. And when people call you, you can tell that they're calling into that app. Like it pops up differently than your regular phone calls. So you'll know that is a business call. You know what I'm saying? You will know that is a business call. Is all this, yeah. Well, it's $35 a month now. It's not $19 a month anymore. Price went up. So yes, everything I'm telling you is inside the course, pretty much. There's actually more detail inside the course, a lot more detail, like what the labs are, who to reach out to, what names, how to outsource, how to all that stuff's inside the course. And yes, it is in there. You can either pay $35 a month for a membership or $349 for lifetime access, but I'll do a deal for this webinar specifically. Okay. Is it already set up by state? What do you mean? What do you mean is it already set up by state? What do you mean by that? Like the course? No, I mean the course is applicable to all 50 states. So you get the course and it's an online course. So you just click on it and it has all the information for you. So it's not necessarily like a state by state thing. It's just all the information is applicable by state. Oh, labs by state. No, because there is not a lab in each state. There's only like really for real, like 2 labs that you'd actually really work with for real. Like 2. And they cover the entire world. See what I'm saying? So yeah, I hope that answers your question. There's only like really 2 AABB accredited labs that have reseller programs that you can partner with. So and they're only in 2 states. No, they're not. Yeah, paternity labs are not incredibly numerous. Because AABB accredited paternity labs are very minimal. Accredited paternity labs that have actual reseller programs are like 2. That's it. And you know, they have corporate accounts, they have partnerships with people with companies, middlemen all over the planet, like Japan, Tokyo, India, Nigeria, United States. Like that's it. I tell you those labs in the course. I tell you exactly what they are and how to contact them in the course and what to do. So that is all. Okay. All right. So in the course, I tell you, do your research in the labs partner. Well, there you go. I'm kind of talking about that now, sort of kind of. Are they responsible for all? I wouldn't say responsible because like the government is not demanding that they do it. I mean, they're private companies, but you can basically anybody can be in any state in any country and partner with them pretty much and be like, hey, I want to offer my testing services. I think Australia, they have like a certain accreditation that a lab needs. And I think both of those labs have those accreditations so they can operate. But I mean, you know, I don't think any of y'all are in Australia. So, you know, you can do it. If you're in Wyoming, you can do this. If you're in Wisconsin, you can do this. If you're in California, you can do this. If you're in New York, you can do this. In New York City, New York is the only state in the country where a person has to get a doctor's note to get a paternity test. That's true. That is a law. It's weird. There's ways that you can do that. I mean, legally, still, it's super weird. But like, yes, if you can be in Florida and do this. You can be in Mississippi. You can be in Kansas. You get my drift? You can do this in any state. Yes, they take they take care. Yes, they take care of 50 states and other countries. Yes. Anybody in any state can do this. You know what I'm saying? Except for countries that outlaw paternity testing. I think like Jordan or something like that, or like some Middle Eastern country somewhere. They don't want paternity testing. Like, no, you know what I'm saying? So obviously, you know, Iran, North Korea, I mean, you know, go figure, you know what I'm saying? But like you're gonna worry about Georgia and Maryland. That's what y'all gonna worry about. All right. That's it. Thank you, Julius. I appreciate that, man. Okay. All right. So researching your competition. Let me take a little sip of this tea real quick. Okay. Here is how you conduct market research on the other middlemen in your area. Okay. So this is exactly what you do. You're gonna Google paternity testing services in your area. All right. Then you're gonna call the places that you come across. Here's what you're gonna find normally. You're gonna find places like LabCorp, which is LabCorp has locations. LabCorp is an AABB accredited lab as well, but they mostly focus on drug and like blood testing for diseases. They do paternity testing, but that's not their focus. And they have a bunch of locations around the country. All right. So they're a lot more embedded in different cities and stuff like that. So when you Google, you're going to come across LabCorp. That's exactly, but they're a massive, massive, massive corporation. Okay. What's going to happen is you're going to call LabCorp and they're going to put you on hold and you're going to have to, press 1 for this, press 2 for that, yada, 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 yada. All right. Did they answer the phone? What tone did they use? You're mostly looking for the companies that are more local and they're there physically, and a client does not have to jump through hoops to get an appointment. Because at LabCorp, you got to jump through hoops to get an appointment, and you can't just walk in. It's all types of crap you got to deal with. Okay. So how many Google reviews do they have? What are the stars? What are the average stars? What are they listed? What are people saying? Are they saying they got false results? Are they saying that nobody ever answered the phone? Are they saying that it took them 2 weeks to get their result? What are they saying? Are they saying that it was great service? What are they saying? Look at it. Does this place offer mobile services? Check their website. Look at their website. What does it say? Do they only have a building that you can go to do it? Are they open on weekends? Check that. Because, shoot, just a few minutes ago, I got a call from a lady in Dallas. It's like, I want to walk in right now and do a paternity test. And, my Dallas location is open on weekends for calls at least. But we go by appointment only. We don't really do walk-ins. You know what I'm saying? And she wanted to walk in right now. And quite frankly, I kind of passed her off to another location because I didn't want to. She seemed like she might have been a problem to deal with. So I was like, you can go somewhere else. But yeah, you check that stuff. Are they open on weekends? Are they answering the phone? What lab? Do they say what lab it is? Some websites, some companies, they'll say, we're partnered with so-and-so lab. And if it ain't on that AABB accredited list that you can look up, aabb.org, if it ain't on there, if they say we offer legal paternity testing, like court admissible paternity testing, and they name a lab on there, and if it's not on that AABB list, then yeah, you know what I mean? It's kind of iffy, a little gray area there. All right. What are their prices? Call, act like you're a client. Hey, I need a paternity test for me and my kid. Like, what do they say? Do they say, all right, it's going to be $300 for a legal and $80 for a non-legal? Call them, ask them. You know what I'm saying? I'll teach you how to do that in the course, by the way. LabCorp is the lab, and they have locations all over the country. So they're not really a third party and refer anybody out. They do it there. They're just a massively multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company. So their customer service is like on a more inaccessible level in a way. That's what I'm saying. Okay. All right. The money part. That's the part that everybody wants to know. All right. How much can you charge? How much can you charge? Now, what you're charging is not what you keep. Okay. I'm going to let you know what you keep, but this is how much you can charge. All right. So a standard legal paternity test, meaning it is court admissible. Okay. Meaning that you fill out something called a chain of custody. All right. That is between $300 and $500. LabCorp charges about $500, $600. They're on the high end. So a lot of clients get scared off by LabCorp. They're like, oh my God, they're charging so much money. But depending on where you're at, if you're in California, you could probably charge like $450 because it's a higher cost of living. If you are in Maryland, Columbia, Maryland, it's a lower cost of living. So, and your clients might be like $500. I'm not paying that. They might be more happy with $340, $299, $340, something like that. Okay. By the way, you don't have to just stick to that area. You have DC there. You have Richmond further down. See what I'm saying? Like, trust me, I was out there. I know that demographic. You're dealing with the Baltimoreans. The Baltimoreans are different. They're different. They're different. There's some different folk out there, man. I've dealt with them. They're good. They're good fun. All right. So you can expand to DC in certain other parts of the Eastern Seaboard area. Okay. All right. Informational test. You can charge between $200 and $299. $299 for that. All right. Cost of living is higher in DC, Virginia. That is correct. That means you can charge more. And Baltimore is a little bit lower. So that means that the demographic may not want to pay as much for a paternity test. By the way, paternity testing is not acceptable by insurance. Insurance does not cover paternity testing. Paternity testing is a cash-only business or a credit card or debit card only business. Okay. Informational paternity test is when somebody just wants to know and they don't want to use the results for court. So when you do a legal paternity test, you fill out something called a chain of custody, which I teach you in the course. A chain of custody is saying, this is this person that came in at this date and this time. They are this gender, they are this race, and they are signing off saying that they had their DNA samples collected by a professional DNA collector, and that collector, put all that stuff in the package and sent it off to the lab. That means the client never touches it. It's a chain of custody, meaning that the chain of custody is saying at this time these samples were collected and then it was sent off to the laboratory. The lab opened it. It's a control factor. You see what I'm saying? That makes it admissible to the court, because when it's informational, none of that paperwork gets done. The person comes in, they can say their name is freaking Ooga Booga, right? And I did explain how I fell into this line of work. I'll say it again after I say this, but they can say their name is freaking Ooga Booga for informational, because you're not checking ID, you're not checking any of that stuff. You just swab them, or you send them a home kit. They swab themselves, and quite frankly, you really don't know who swabbed who, but that's what they want to do. They send it off to the lab. The lab doesn't have any of that information, but they just run it as non-legal, informational only. And so you charge less for that. Okay. I got into this business because my mom has been in this business for 20 years, and I saw her build her own stuff as I grew up. I wanted to expand further into real estate. A couple of years ago, wasn't really working out, and decided that I would start this because the cost of starting up is way lower and you can scale. So that's why I got into this business. Okay. Here's a big one: non-invasive prenatal paternity testing. Okay. This is a huge selling point. So that is when a woman is pregnant and she wants to know who the father is. They do a blood draw from her arm. That means non-invasive. Non-invasive means just the blood draw from the arm, because the invasive version is they insert a needle into her belly button or a catheter into her cervix, and it's very uncomfortable. Okay. And OBGYNs can only do that. So non-invasive is higher priced because they're just drawing blood from her arm, and at the lab they're testing the fetal DNA that's in her blood. So they don't have to go into her stomach or anything like that. You can charge between $1,400 and $1,800 for that. Why do you charge a higher price? Because the lab charges you a higher fee to process it, because it is a more advanced process to do. Okay, there's more advanced machinery to do that. So the lab charges you a higher fee. I tell you exactly what that lab charges, but that's what you can charge the client. Okay, and you can outsource that. Now, blood has to be drawn in this test. All right. You can only draw blood yourself if you are a licensed phlebotomist. That means you have gone to school to do this. Now, what if you haven't gone to school? What if you don't want to go to school to be a licensed phlebotomist? What do? Do you hire a phlebotomist for $50,000 a year? Nope. You outsource it. You send your client to a licensed phlebotomist, or depending on how you want to operate your business, you can bring on a licensed phlebotomist on a contract, I guess. Bring them into the office that you rent, or whatever, and they can do the test for you, or they can go to that person's home and do the test. But they have to be a licensed phlebotomist. They must. Me personally, I send my prenatal clients to a franchise location that has phlebotomists every single place in the entire country at all their locations, and they go there and get their blood drawn. Okay. And I pay a small fee for that. I'll pay either $25 or $40 or $60 for them to do that for me. And I would charge the client $1,695 to do it. Okay. And they charge me, for drawing that blood $40 or something like that, $50-ish. Okay. And then the lab charges me their fee of either $950 or $1,200. Okay. So I pocket the difference. The profit margin is a lot lower on that, but the demand is extremely high. And that is how you get into your 5-figure months, of doing that. All right. That I just gave you the game. That's it right there. That's a major part of the course. I just gave you the game on how to outsource that stuff. Nowhere else on the planet are you learning this stuff. Nowhere else. There's nowhere else to learn this stuff. I had to learn it myself over the past year. I had to figure it out. And now I figured it out. I've perfected it. Okay. All right. Siblingship test. And by the way, that goes with any other DNA test on here too, by the way. You can outsource all of these. You can outsource. Past 3 months, I've only seen maybe 3 or 4 of my clients. I've only seen 3 or 4 of my clients in person. I've only tested a few of them in person. I am military. I work full time. I work from 5 to 5. All right. I still operate this business because I know how to outsource and coordinate. You can do it. It's possible. All right. Siblingship. That means if the alleged father is not around or is deceased or doesn't want to be tested or whatever, siblings can test each other. All right. Those are not always court admissible. I mean, it depends on the court if they want to accept that. Most people just do it for personal reasons. They just want to know. You can charge that amount right there. Same with grandparents. Father ain't around, deceased, don't want to test. Test the father's parents, okay, and the mother and the child. All right. Deceased. That is if either the person is actually deceased and they're in the morgue. You or somebody else can go take samples from that body and test from there, and test the child. People want that for Social Security benefits, death benefits, etc. They're like, hey, he just died. He's in the morgue. Can somebody go? And you can charge high for that. You can charge higher than $1,000. You can charge $1,300 for that. And the lab just charges you the regular paternity free, which is $100-something. So high margin, high revenue, high margin, but you're dealing with a deceased body. Or the morgue might have, the county morgue might have that person's blood samples still on hand. And you can coordinate and have those blood samples sent to the lab. It may or may not be enough to do. So that's why the best version of it is testing the actual body. I haven't done that yet. I have gotten at least 3 calls for it. They decided not to go with me, which is fine. But it is a very sensitive and delicate nature. And it can be done, but it can be done. All right. Infidelity. People, hey, did my guy cheat on me? I'm gonna test this sample, did my girl cheat on me? I'm gonna test her underwear that might have some semen or something like that. And people, I don't get those calls very often, but you can charge for that too. Discrete testing. That's somebody that's like, I don't want to have this conversation about paternity testing, so I want to test a piece of tissue that he blew his snot into and then swab my kid and send it in. They can do it. The DNA is usually not enough DNA on the sample for the lab to actually fully test it, as opposed to the usual mouth swab or blood sample. But if the client insists on doing that, you can charge them for that. And it's non-legal. It's not court admissible. Over the past year, with operating within the 50 states, how many of these clients have you actually met? And it has been proper. No, it has not been proper enough to leave my job or career. It will be within the next 3 or so years because I'm an Army officer. Okay. So I make good money. All right. As an officer, they pay me to basically pay my mortgage. They give me money for my mortgage. All right. I get paid on the 1st and 15th, no matter what. In the business, in any business, you don't get paid on the 1st and 15th, no matter what. You got to eat what you kill. So no, not yet, but I will. How many of these clients have I actually met in person? I think I'm at around 80 total clients, and I probably met in person maybe 25 or 30. Once I figured out how to outsource stuff, and then some clients, they want you to send them a home DNA kit. So you'll never see them. You know what I'm saying? Most of them I haven't seen. As long as you answer the phone, you answer their questions, they may not always care to even see you. See what I'm saying? Okay. How do you market the DNA business? How do you market? The number one thing, numero uno, number one, Google Ads. Google Ads. Google Ads is the number one thing. All right. In the course, I'll show you how to set up a basic Google Ads campaign. I am not a Google Ads like perfectionist. You know what I'm saying? I am not the best at it. You know what I'm saying? But oh man, did I? Oh man, I completely stopped recording. Oh well, this is not going to be recorded, but that's fine. Google Ads is number one. All right. Search engine optimization is pretty good. That means, you hire somebody to make sure that your website has all the keywords and all the stuff necessary to pop up on Google, because people Google this stuff. They don't be looking on Facebook. They don't be looking on Instagram. They don't be on Snapchat. They don't be looking on Twitter for this stuff. They look on Google. They Google paternity testing near me. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. All right. Passing out cards to attorneys, networking with attorneys is important as well, because you can get referrals from attorneys. All right. Going on social media, talking about it, that helps as well. But I'm telling you, your most powerful leads are going to come from Google. All right. Going to networking events, that's cool. Meeting people in your city, that's great. Linking up with people, that's cool. Try it. Wear your company attire. If you want to get a polo shirt with your logo on it, go out, have cards, meet people, talk to people. Number one is Google. People Google you and they call you. That's it. That's how you market it. You set up your ads, you Google, you get on top of Google. That's how you do it. All right. My successes and failures. I had bus stop bench ads. The bus stop ads. That was cool. It was a lesson learned, more so because I learned that people were honestly just Googling. Like, it was cool to have an ad in person, that you could see, but honestly, people just Google you. Okay. Changing my business name on Google, like I said earlier, changing from Assurance DNA to City Plus Paternity Testing Services. That helped my search engine optimization a lot more. Hiring a virtual assistant, that helped a lot too, because I outsource that task. I have somebody now, answering the phone for me for the most part. I don't have to answer the phone. I still work a job. I can't duck out my job. You know what I'm saying? Advertising on podcast. It didn't really work as well as I wanted it to. You know what I mean? Like, advertising my business on a podcast. Is that really my target market, depending on the podcast? But I'd rather direct that money towards Google Ads and get clients. Cutting my marketing budget. That was a huge fail. That was a massive fail, cutting my marketing budget. I shouldn't have done that. I was like, I'm spending $600 a month on Google Ads. I'm gonna cut that down to $300. The next month, my clients, like, my income was cut in half of my business. So don't do that. If you got a marketing budget, don't lower it or play around with it too much. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here's a few testimonials of my students. One on the left, Adonis, he owns Big Easy DNA out there in New Orleans. He's talking about how, the money he's made each quarter and just kind of keep going. Talked about in the middle how much it took to get into the business, and the rest is marketing costs, which is true. And then his first, prenatal, or Jacaria, her first prenatal on the right, how she did it and knocked it out. She charged $1,400 plus tax, and how she knocked it out and that did the coordination. She didn't do the blood draw herself. So just a few testimonials. So as we close out, here's the most important aspect of this business, and it's just having patience and taking action. Like, you're not going to be rich overnight. It takes time, but you have to take action. See what I'm saying? So, that is pretty much it. I'm going to see if I can turn on people being able to speak. Let's see, how do I do that? I did it before. I'm tripping. Do you have any more questions? Does anybody have any questions about anything else? I really appreciate you guys. Here we go. Feel free. If you want to talk, you can unmute yourself and you can ask me whatever question you want. Like I said, I appreciate you asking me whatever you want. Feel free. Feel free.
That was all good advice, but like you said, what are the initial? How do I join the Paternity University? Is that my initial, or do I just go out on my own and start everything up myself?
You could. It will take you, if you go out on your own, it might take you longer to get started up. You don't have to get my course if you don't want to, but
Oh no, like I say, I appreciate your mentorship and everything you shared. So that, like I said,
sure.
I want to go by the most professional way possible rather than just jumping out on my own and, like you say, waste more time trying to figure it out rather than showing the proper steps of doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, the course does that. It gives you the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? So that you don't have to try to figure it out, like I did. I mean, I had my mom's help, obviously, but I still had to figure out my processes and my operations. So yes, the course will help you do that. And then it holds your hand. In the course, there's a Slack channel group. We could do one-on-one calls as well monthly. You get access. Like last night, I had a sales call training where I taught my students how to close sales. When people call in, what do you say to close your sales out? So that is included as well. All webinars, free. I mean, you didn't pay for this webinar, but any Q&As that I have, all included. So it's not just the information, but I also try to be as involved as well to see your success. So that's what the course offers. And you go from there. Like I said, you can try it out, subscribe. After about a month or two, if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. No love lost on that one. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, like I say, I work for a large company right now, and I know, like you say, just getting my feet wet. And I used to work in sales, so I have an idea of what I already want to do. But like you say, just the things that you're speaking on and clarifying. Like you said, I wanna mainstream my approach because with any business is getting your feet wet, understand which direction you're going to go. But like you said, you're already been through the trials and error of doing this actual business, and I don't want to waste time. Even though, like you say, you have to be patient. I don't want to waste time in figuring certain aspects out when I know there's already been an approach that you've done. Even I can perfect my own approach through what you've already done. You know what I'm saying? I can personalize it rather than just going
Yeah.
off of what you've done.
And that's exactly what I tell people. That's what I tell my students. Hey, look, my way is not the only way. The way that I'm presenting is a way to do it, off of the lessons that I learned. And then based on like I said, your demographic, if you're in Atlanta or if you want to go into North Florida or whatever, your demographic is going to be different than mine.
Yeah.
My demographic is an entirely separate demographic. So the way I speak, the way I do sales, all that stuff is entirely different. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So yeah, and then you can perfect your own operations as you see fit. My students, they got their own kind of little things, how they do things going on. So absolutely. But yeah, the course is just the foundational blueprint of what you will need for sure.
Yeah, but thank you. Like you say, I'm definitely interested. I'm just like you say, I'm just thinking it through myself, and like you say, I'm definitely going to get the course. Just like I said, because I'm already with a large company now in this area, so I already know I could just go to my company alone to get my feet wet, and just
Yeah.
from the people I know I work with, I know people are having issues, relationships, family wise. Some of that stuff may be cleared up, but like you say, without attaching myself to their situations emotionally, just handling the business side. Hey, I could offer this service to you. Let's move forward. Closing
Technically,
those.
so technically it is
You don't.
advised that you don't do tests for people you know.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Okay.
strongly advised that you don't, because if the court finds out that you knew that person, then there is the I forgot the word for it.
It taints it kind of.
Yeah. So no, don't keep that separate. Maybe refer them out to somebody. You know
Okay.
what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay. Yeah.
Keep that separate. Yeah. But I see what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. But yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay. See, look, like you say, that cuts right through it right there.
Yeah.
I can
See,
refer them to
that would have
to
saved you. That would have
somebody.
saved you some time and heartache on that. You know what I'm saying? I just saved you some
Yeah.
time and
But
heartache.
yeah, like you say, even like you say, referring them to somebody who's already in the network rather than me personally doing it, I could still earn a fee
Yes.
or a referral
Yes.
fee.
Yes. See, there you go. 100%. Julius, what you got, man?
I don't even know where we're at. I had to take a phone call. So what happened?
No, I just ended the actual presentation. I mean, you kind of got off right when I was starting to wrap up. So
Okay.
allowing folks to talk, whatever questions you want to ask me directly, feel free, go for it.
Pretty much everything I already asked you was what I had to ask. I was really interested in your course and program because actually I'm in the trucking industry and wanted to look into like the DOT, urinalysis, drug testing, and so on and so forth. And I end up coming across your YouTube video, and that's what interests me into actually doing this Zoom the webinar. When I saw it pop up on online, I was like, oh, okay, let me check out this guy, see what he has to offer and what this is actually about.
Sure. Yeah, the dope thing about that is I don't do DOT drug testing, but however, a lot of companies that actually do DOT drug testing, they do that primarily and they offer DNA testing as a secondary kind of thing. So I don't really know too much about setting up a drug testing business. Like I'm still learning myself. If you were to do that and offer DNA testing, you probably do very well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking to get into, but I don't know a lot of information in reference to like the DOT physical that goes along with the drug testing. The drug testing I know how to do. That
okay.
I have the information and knowledge of how to do it. It's just the physical aspect of it. I don't know if you need to be a doctor, nurse, or whatever that goes along with that. Yeah, so I'm
No,
doing
you have to be for the physicals. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that one I wouldn't have an answer on.
the urinalysis and things like that. I absolutely know the answers to those.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
the physicals. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, the physicals is a totally different animal.
It's a different ball game. Yeah. DNA testing. Yeah, like to get back on that, people ask me all the time, do you have to be a doctor or a nurse to do DNA testing? Do you have to have certifications or licenses? No, because ultimately you're really a consultant. Essentially, you're like a middleman consultant. I mean, you can do the swabs yourself.
Yeah.
In the course, I show you how to do the swabs. Like, here's how you do it. It's not hard. Like when I would be watching my mom when I was younger, she would take me into the office sometimes and she was doing DNA tests and be like, hey, look, this is how you do it. Let me show you. Like, it's not hard. Now, like I said, if you want to draw blood, you have to be licensed to do that. Yes, you do. You know what I'm saying? But you could just outsource that. I'm not drawing nobody's blood.
Yeah. And what you're saying is, when you were speaking, everything made a whole lot of sense, especially playing the third party. Everything made sense.
Yeah, that's it.
Like I understood everything you were saying.
Mm-hmm. Good. I'm glad you did. I'm glad I'm able to communicate clearly and effectively for y'all. So yeah, like unless you guys got any other questions, I have nothing else for y'all. Let's see. Oh wait, yeah, here we go. I see somebody named Nene dialed in on the stream. I think I answered your question. My bad. 9. I answered your question on here on the YouTube stream as well. But yeah, I appreciate y'all, dialing in. The course, I believe I have it. I'm gonna send out a link. Did you guys sign up for my Twitter or did you sign up from like an email list or something? I'm just curious.
Oh, Twitter.
Okay, cool. If you go to Paternity, huh?
Oh, I followed your Twitter page, but yeah, that's like I said, that's where I found you initially on Twitter.
Okay, great. If you go to paternityuniversity.com, give me just a second. You can get the course. You can get the lifetime access for $149 if you enter the code webinar when you check out. Okay. Normally it's $349. I price it that way because that's the price of an actual legal DNA test on average. So I'm pretty much saying for the price of a legal DNA test, you can learn all this stuff. And then essentially on your first test, make your money back, at least from the course. You know what I'm saying? But if you go to paternityuniversity.com, and enter the code webinar, or for the lifetime access, you can get it for $149. The subscription is going to stay $35 a month. All right. And that's essentially, that's pretty much it. Yeah, unless y'all got any other questions, I appreciate it. I'm go ahead and pop off so I can go for a run.
Hey, thank you for the information. Like I said, I look forward to working with you soon, man.
Absolutely. You have a good day.
I really appreciate it.
Sure. All right. Y'all brothers have a good day, okay?